Hello everybody. Today I am here to wrap up the books that I read during the Nancy Drew readathon. I did not end up vlogging that readathon, but I wanted to wrap up all of the books that I had on my TBR because I did participate in the readathon. I was reading those books during that time. I am doing something a little different today. I don't think that this video is going to be for everyone, but I'm excited about it and I hope you like it. I am going to play a Nancy Drew game, and I'm gonna wrap up all the books that I read during the Nancy Drew readathon because why not? I thought this would be fun. I've played them my whole life. I'm a massive fan of the games. I've played every single one of them multiple times. They're pretty much the big reason for like my deep love of Nancy Drew. I just thought it would be fun to share the video game with you and just chit chat about books that I read during the Nancy Drew readathon because it's a Nancy Drew readathon, so why not? I'm going to be playing Message in a Haunted Mansion. So this is one of the oldest games. I think this is the third game in the series. Do not judge the very dated graphics and interface of this game, but like this is like the beginning of the series. This is where it all started out. Let's dive into it and see how it goes.
Dear Bess, hello from stormy San Francisco. This time I'm staying in a beautiful Victorian mansion. You'd love the room I'm in. It's full of old Chinese furnishings and some interesting knickknacks. The owner of the house, Rose Green, is a friend of Hannah and asked me to come out and help her with some renovation work. She and her friend Abby hope to turn the place into a bed and breakfast by next month. But from what I gathered, Rose isn't sure if she can open in time. Ever since they started the renovations, they've had a lot of accidents. Could it be just bad luck, or is there something more sinister at work? I'm sure I'll find out.
More sinister.
Love, Nancy.
Let's find out. All right, so we're here, and I'm just gonna start playing and talk about the books that I read. I don't know if I'm gonna remember everything, but I do know that I need to write down these Chinese characters. Okay, so I DNF'd 2 books on my TBR. I DNF'd The 10th Girl by Sarah Faring, and I also DNF'd Redemption Prep.
It's stuck.
Okay. I will talk about my feelings on those more in depth because I always do like an end of year video where I talk about all my DNFs, so you'll find out.
It's locked.
Oh, I have my key for that. Okay. You'll find out my thoughts when I talk about that. But yeah, I did DNF those 2 books. So the first one I can talk about is just the first Nancy Drew book that I read, The Clue in the Diary. So this is part of the original Nancy Drew series. And this one, I gotta say, I think was pretty weak. I liked reading it because it was like it was a Nancy Drew book, and like I like Nancy Drew books. But
the rope is cut.
I have to say this book in particular was one of the weakest Nancy Drew books out of the original series, I feel like. It relied very heavily on something that really like comes up in a lot of Nancy Drew books. And I have noticed this before, but I tend to just overlook it because like I'll just ignore it. It's just like a ridiculous quirk of the Nancy Drew books. But the thing that bothers me so much is that Nancy literally always relies on just like her gut about like whether somebody is innocent or guilty. She's like, that person just seems so nice, or like they're so good looking and just like they have kind-hearted eyes, like they can't be guilty of this crime. And then the people who are guilty are always like these creepy men who like look evil and they just like have mean looking faces, and I'm just like, that's not how innocence and guilt works. I don't remember what I have to write on this staircase, so I gave this book 3 stars when I finished it, but I'm gonna be honest, it kind of almost is a 2.5. Like I just felt very mediocre about it. Nothing that interesting happened in it. The mystery was just like, it was just pretty obvious, like kind of what was going on. It wasn't super gripping. Like it was okay, but I wasn't very impressed. Honestly, my favorite part about that book was the fact that Laura Linney did the audiobook, and she did
this like really, really intense Swedish accent for one of the characters who's Swedish. It was very funny. Wouldn't particularly recommend that book.
It's good to know it's here.
Foreshadowing. Wouldn't particularly recommend that book as like a good Nancy Drew book, but I read it and I'm glad that I read it because it is one of the original classics. So yeah, that was the clue in the diary. What do I have to talk about next? The Things She's Seen by Anne Boleyn and Ezekiel Quaimolina. That one I have slightly mixed feelings on. For me, it was... I wonder if he's in here. No, he's not. Huh. Can I just... I just remember his like username and password because it's so obvious. He's an antique dealer and his password is antiques. This is so funny. Like, it just lets me in. I've never even met the man like in the game, but I just know his password from playing it other times. Anyway, I already know your laptop password is antiques. This is very funny. Actually, I need to write this down, I think. Okay, so The Things She's Seen. I'll say what didn't work for me. What didn't work for me was there was a large portion of that book that I didn't understand what was happening. There is a bit of a story within a story. And I have to say, I just like didn't understand what was going on. It was really confusing. And like, I felt like I just like didn't get literally, like I just couldn't follow what was happening. So that to me was like a massive detractor of the story for me. It's hard to enjoy a book when you don't understand what's happening. So if I understood what was going on, I think that this probably would have been like a solid 4-star rating. As it was, I dropped it down to 3.5 stars because there was a lot that I loved about this book. I loved the father-daughter relationship between like the two main characters. I really liked the paranormal elements. I liked the writing and just like the emotions. Oh, I have to find.
Won't fit.
I have to find 3 of these. Okay, I loved the discussion about grief, and there were some really, really hard-hitting, like emotional, like scenes, and I just really liked like the character development and like the emotional part of that. Oh, the history of the piano. Do I have to play the piano in this game? Oh, yes, I do. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the mystery in that book. I see it. I liked, but again, just as like everything kind of came together at the end, there were a lot of things that I just felt like I was missing. But I enjoyed the investigative process and like the kind of like creepy detective work that was going on. This book also had like a little afterword.
It won't fit.
Okay. At the end, and it basically was talking about how like really what the authors wanted to portray with this book was like the resilience of Aboriginal women in Australia. And, ooh, the clock is going off. And I really, really liked that. I definitely I could feel those themes, and that was like a big part of the book. The main character that you're viewing the book through her eyes is has a white father and an Indigenous mom, and then we'll talk to her in a second. And then there was another character who was also Aboriginal, and she just like played a very important part, and her story was really important to the book. And yeah, I just really, really liked that theme and like that, I guess, meaning to the book. So yeah, that I really liked, and therefore I don't want to... Oh, that's a symbol I can write down. Therefore, I don't want to judge this too harshly, but it was like a big bummer that I just felt very confused by a lot of the book. Maybe I should try rereading it at some point, but that's where I am right now. So yeah, I think I gave that 3.5 stars. Oh, she just got a new fire insurance policy. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna go talk to Rose. She is the one who owns this bed and breakfast. How do I get there? So I'm gonna pause on the book stuff so like we can actually follow the plot of this game.
Hello, Nancy. I'm very glad you could come out here. We can really use your help, seeing how far we are behind schedule. Are you all ready to do some renovation work?
I sure am.
I sure am. This house must have quite a history. What do you know about it?
Not very much. but Abby found some interesting old papers that might give us clues about the history of the house. They're in the parlor if you want to take a peek. There's also an old-time saloon in the basement, so it's
Ooh.
possible the house was once a hotel.
A saloon? Oh, this place really does have a history. Who was the original owner?
Almost all the records on these old houses were destroyed in the Great Earthquake, so we don't know much about the origins of the place. Abby thinks all our accidents were caused by some restless spirit or a curse. I'm not one to believe in bad luck, but it's been one thing after another. Maybe Charlie doesn't have the expertise for these renovations, but his rates are so affordable. I sometimes wonder, though, if this old house would be worth more burned to the ground. Enough
Excuse
chit-chat.
me?
Hannah tells me you're a real pro with puzzles.
Oh, I sure
Take
am.
a look in the corner. Those wood tiles should fit inside the inlay pattern of the floor. Abby and I tried for hours, but it's just too complicated.
It's too
I'm
complicated.
sorry for
They
not
tried for
introducing you
hours.
around, but everyone posts their schedule here in the dining room. It's kind of like Command Central. Let me know how far you get with that puzzle. And thanks again for helping us, Nancy.
Sure thing. All right, let's do this puzzle, and we can talk about my next book. Where is it? Oh, here it is. I just need it. They tried for hours to put this puzzle together, and they just couldn't. Okay, so my next book is Kill the Boy Band by Goldie Moldavsky. What's happening here? There we go. I really love this book. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. I thought that this worked really well, like on so many different levels. It worked really well as like a satire and an obvious kind of parody of like fan culture and fame, and I was just very tickled by the whole thing. It was making like necessary commentary about fan culture, but it like also depicted fan culture in a very loving way, in a sense. Like it really like talked about reasons that like so many girls will get into fandoms, and it's like it's not just like a joke. Like they're smart and capable. It makes sense as to why like a girl, you know, like teenage girls are like, I love this boy band. It struck a good balance of making fun of things, but also providing commentary and critique. And I also just found the story to be engaging. Like it was just fast paced and interesting. It was a wild ride. I just found it like very surface level enjoyable because it was just very, very wild. And I just really liked that. What have I done? Why can't I do this puzzle? I take it back when I laughed at her when she said she worked on this for hours. So yeah, all of it just blended really well. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed the writing and the voice of the main character. So I thought that this was a solid read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Like I just thought it was very good, and it really, really worked for me. It was funny. Did I do it? Wait. Why doesn't it say it's done? I did it. I exited out of it. No. Okay, we'll do it again. My Sister the Serial Killer by Oinkam Braithwaite. This one I also really liked. I gave this one 4 stars as well. I think so Kill the Boy Band and My Sister the Serial Killer, both of them I gave 4 stars. And they were my highest rated books of the readathon.
I did it!
Good Lord, I swear, usually the puzzles in Nancy Drew games are not that finicky. This game is very old and it is therefore quite clunky. Anyway, so My Sister the Serial Killer. Loved it. Again, this one is kind of a satire, but for me, what worked so well about it was that it was so balanced. But I'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk to Charlie down here.
Hi, you must be Nancy. My name's Charlie.
Hi, Charlie. You must have a lot of experience to work on such a big house.
Nancy.
No, but I
You're being
learned
so
quickly.
mean.
Even Lewis said so. Have you met him yet? He's helping Rose with the house. Yeah, he showed me how to do some of the remodeling work.
I haven't met Lewis, but I did break into his laptop.
No, I haven't met him yet. Does he work for Rose?
He's an antique dealer, I think. I guess he does consulting work for Rose, like on Victorian furnishings and stuff.
Do you have any idea why there's been so many accidents on this project?
I have no idea. People are blaming me, but it's not my fault. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do this work. Listen, Nancy, I really need to get back to work. I'm repairing some floorboards, so be careful walking around.
Is that a
Rose
threat,
was looking
sir?
for you earlier. Maybe she has something for you to do. See ya.
Going on there. That scared me so bad. Yeah, this game is a little spooky. There's some hauntings going on. Just to warn you. But it's not actually scary, but that scared me. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I'm gonna talk to old what's-her-face.
Hello, Nancy. I see you've arrived safely from your long journey. But I'm sensing an aura of danger around you.
Ooh.
I can tell you're an inquisitive type, a little skeptical, and that you don't believe in ghosts.
And you do?
I sense a very strong but restless spirit within these walls. And a restless spirit can soon become an angry spirit.
Who could this restless spirit be?
I'm not sure, but for some reason the name Valdez has a strong connection with this mansion.
Do you have any more
Do you have any more information on Mr. Valdez?
Now, if you will please excuse me, I need to prepare myself for this evening. At that time, more will be revealed.
Are you serious?
She sounds busy.
Seriously?
She sounds busy.
I don't remember what name I'm supposed to put in the stairs here, but maybe it's Valdez. I just don't remember. Actually, I do remember. I think it's Diego. I think his name is Diego Valdez. Should I do it? It might not work. That's the thing about these games, is that, I mean, you're supposed to do things, you know, because the game, like, tells you the clues and then you figure it out, but I've played them so much that I just like I know what I'm supposed to be doing, so I do things out of order a little bit sometimes. Diego. Yes. Coins. False floor. Love it. Alright, so if, you know, just to entice you to play this game yourself, if you were to play this game on your own, like, there's a lot of stuff you can pick up and read that I'm just skipping over because I'm just kind of going through this as quickly as possible. But you'll get to know about, like, Lizzie Applegate and Diego Valdez and, like, the whole, like, history around them. But I'm not bothering to read those things. Is Lewis here? Yes.
Hello. I was so wrapped up in my book, I didn't hear you come in. My name is Lewis Chandler.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Nancy Drew. Are you a friend of Rose?
Yes, I'd like to think so, but I'm an antique dealer, and a client told me that Rose and Abby had recently acquired the estate. I'm an authority on the Victorian era, so they were only too happy to let me use the library in exchange for my advice on the renovations.
My camera shut off. I'm back.
You must know a lot about the house's history.
Actually, I'm a bit in the dark about this particular property. However, as far as Victorian mansions go, I don't see anything remarkable about this one.
What are you using the library for?
Research. This library contains many rare books and documents that predate the Great Earthquake. It was quite a find for a student of the Victorian period, such as myself.
What are you looking for in these books?
I'm
Nancy's so
sorry, but I'm
suspicious.
quite busy at the moment. And
What?
although I'd like to talk, I really don't have the time. Please, excuse me.
Sir?
I'm sorry, but I really must finish my work. Perhaps Abby can assist you. Good day.
So rude. Okay, I'm trying to trigger a specific event. I'm trying to see if by talking to everyone, does that do it? Yes.
The spirits wish
Yes.
to speak to you,
Okay.
Nancy.
You
Tonight,
guys.
I will channel their energies to deliver a message. Meet me down in the basement, if you dare. Please sit down.
We really don't have time for this.
Let us begin. We are gathered here tonight to contact the shades of those who have passed before us. Gaze into the crystal ball. It will answer all of our questions. What's that?
So spooky.
Who has called me forth from the great beyond?
We have. Are you the spirit known as Valdez?
I was once called that in the world of the living.
Are you the spirit who has caused these accidents?
I have come back searching for her, my wife. Where can she be?
The spirits have spoken. The seance is over.
We've got a busy day tomorrow, and no more time for these games, Abby. And make sure you blow out the candles on your way up. I don't want to wake up and find the house on fire.
That would be horrible. All right, yeah, that's the seance scene. It's just an iconic moment from these games. Alrighty, and I was talking about My Sister the Serial Killer. How it worked so well as literary fiction, but then also it's like if you're an idiot like me and you just like want to read a book, it's still super interesting. Like I loved the characters and the story, the relationship between the two sisters in this book. So fascinating. It was really well done. It was compelling to read about the way that they interacted and like the power dynamics and manipulation sort of things that were going on between them. I just really enjoyed it. The writing was great. The story was just it was so very short and compact, but just like in a way that was very, very to the point. It was very, very deliberate, I think. And I just really enjoyed that. I think I need to write this down. The order of the Zodiac. I know that's like a puzzle later. Okay. So yeah, overall, I was like, this is just good. Like all around, it just worked like on pretty much every level. So I was quite happy with that book. It was definitely a hyped book for me. And to me, I felt like it deserved that hype. I don't feel like it's like one of those like life-changing, like, oh my gosh, this is one of the best books in the world, but it's just like a book that was just like so solid, you know, like all the way through. I was like, I'm really, really interested by this. I'm really enjoying it. It was a fascinating read. I think I said I gave that book 4 stars. Quite liked it. Ooh, she has what is this called? A one-way mirror? I love Abby's room. This is just, it's so cool. That was the book that I had for my challenge of something I've been wanting to read for a really long time, and like I'm glad that I finally got to it. And it's one of those books that I feel like I could have just put off forever, but I'm really glad that I didn't. And like it was definitely worth it. She is spying on us? There's something I have to do over here, but there's like a ladder to go up and it's not here. I don't know why. I know it's you, Abby. Piping it through the vents. I clicked too fast, but there was definitely like a shadow. That was scary. It's a horror game. It's terrifying. All right. Well, let's talk about... Oh, the phone's ringing. Oh, there's one thing I haven't done. I haven't looked in the area where Charlie is because he's always been down there. Is he gone now? Yes. Okay, let me look around here. Okay, so the next book that I have to talk about is The Dinner by Hermann Koch. So this one was, I mean, I have so many keys and I don't know what they're doing. This one was, I would say, my least favorite of the readathon. It just was not very enjoyable. I was very close to DNFing it. Ooh, a cassette tape. What is it? Oh, Smoke Machine. This is so funny. I ended up pushing through, and the book did get more engrossing for me, but like I was kind of struggling with it at first. I just really didn't want to read it. That was a negative for me. Once I... Do you see that? That door just slammed? Once I like started finally getting into it, it did suck me in, and like I did read like almost all of it like in one big chunk. So like that's like really the only like positive thing I have to say for it. That scared me. What the heck? This is so ridiculous. But I have to say, this book was pretty mediocre. I'm gonna try talking to Rose.
How's that inlay puzzle coming along?
I finished it.
Wonderful. But
There
now
we
I've got
go.
something else for you. I set up a ladder upstairs so you can chip off the broken tiles on the hallway ceiling. You'll need to look around for a chisel or paint scraper for the job.
I already got one.
I'm not sure where Charlie keeps them.
I can see you're busy. I'll let you go.
So
Here's
long.
what I'm excited for. Basically, this book takes place all in the whispering, I see you. I don't know if you could hear that or not.
I need a paint scraper.
But the book takes place like all in one evening.
It's locked. It's
Which
locked.
was cool, but it just kind of got to be like a lot, and I don't know, it just felt like kind of tedious, and I just I don't know how really to describe like the thing that I didn't like about this book. It was just like I didn't like the characters, and I didn't like the protagonist, like the narrator of the book, being in his head. I just didn't like him. Every single person in this book was like unpleasant. Do I think that was intentional? Yes. But like for me as a reader, I just personally...
It's locked.
Which key is it? This one? I just don't personally like reading books where like every single character is...
Is there more to this music than what I'm seeing?
I don't know, Nancy. I don't like books like that. Like, that's just my personal preference. If you like books with unlikable characters that are just like bad people and it's intentional, you might like this book. But personally, like, I just don't find it fun to read. I think it can be done well. I just don't think this book really was. Like, it just kind of was like, everyone sucks, and like, you just have to sit in the head of a very annoying person for an entire book. And then at the end, you're like there's kind of a sort of twist, but I wasn't very impressed by it. I just found the whole thing to be like not very satisfying.
It's stuck.
I'm trapped. I can't get out. This part scared me so much when I like first played it as a kid. You just used a crowbar and get out. But how terrifying is that? So yeah, I gave this book 2 stars. Why can't I open this? Okay. I just didn't really like it, but I wouldn't say I actively hated it. So like, if there was something that I just like really didn't like, I'm like not doing a good job explaining this. There were things that I did not like about this book, but I wouldn't say on the whole I like actively disliked reading it. So that's why it's just like a low 2 stars. There were 2 books that I DNF'd that I just like couldn't bring myself to finish because I disliked them so much. So like, I feel like it earned 2 stars because of that. But on the whole, it just did not impress me very much. Yeah, I just thought it was very, very meh. Like, just very mediocre.
It won't fit.
And that's that. Yeah. Now I can open up this secret passage. Oh, that's a Chinese character for me to write down. I'll look through that later. What is next? The Black Coats by Colleen Oakes. This one, you guys, I had such mixed feelings about. It was very frustrating for me because
It's
like
stuck.
a good portion of this book was like a
It's
very
so dark in here.
oh shoot, I'm gonna need a flashlight, right?
I can't see where I'm going.
All right, Nancy just died. It's fine, second chance. So it was very frustrating for me to read The Black Coats because so much of the book for me was like a really strong 4 stars. I loved it. And then there was also like a big portion of the book that I just hated. And so it kind of averaged out to like a 3.5 star rating for me. And I find that very frustrating because like I wanted the book to like commit and like be like a really good like 4.5 stars, or I wanted it to like commit to the stuff that I hated, and then it could be just like a 2-star rating. But there, like, it was a mixed bag. Like, I just had very strong warring emotions. So what is a gal to do? Oh, somebody sent me a letter. Oh, it's not a nice letter. Oh my goodness. It's a threat. Iconic. Leave the mansion now. These freaking shadows. Ugh, I love her room so much. So celestial. I don't want to spoil this book. So
I need a tape.
I'll speak about it in general terms. The things that I loved and hated.
Who has called me forth from the great beyond?
Alright, so this is just proof that she faked it. And I already know that. I know what to do. I need to find out when Lewis is in the mansion, and then I can spy on him. Okay, so this book, I really loved the like vigilante justice group and the strong bond that the girls in this book formed. And I just really fell in love with like the action and the, I don't know, the like blending of like grief and pain, and how the characters in this book like start responding to those. Oh, fire! How do I turn around, Nancy? How do you turn around, Nancy?
It's too late.
Nancy! Oh my god. Okay, so don't look at the fire. Just go straight to that. All right. Oh boy.
I talked to everybody in the house, and none of them can figure out what caused the fire. Maybe I should take Lewis's advice and cut my losses before it's too late.
What advice?
He has a client who might want to buy the place. Someone with more experience and money to finish all of the renovations.
Really?
What did the fire department say?
They think the fire was caused by sparks from the fireplace, since it doesn't have a screen. And I specifically told Charlie to buy one. How could he have forgotten? No,
Yeah, Charlie.
I am bound and determined to stick with this house no matter what. Nothing can drive me away. I don't care if it's fires, earthquakes, or Mr. Valdez with his gang of ghosts.
All right, well, the ghosts are not real. I proved that. Oh, Nancy accusing her of insurance fraud. I highly encourage you guys to play these games and like actually do all the dialogue options, because you get so much more out of them. But because like I'm just talking about books. I don't want to waste your time with every single
I can see you're busy. I'll let you
dialogue
go.
of this
Goodbye.
computer game. But just know that there's a lot more to the games than what I'm showing you. Anyway, I was talking about the mixed emotions I had about The Black Coats by Colleen Oakes, and I'm having a lot of trouble putting it into words. It really like dives into grief and loss and trauma, and I don't know, it was something that I really appreciated, and I just thought it was such a good exploration of that, and I just really liked it. It really some of the emotions hit really hard for me, and there were just so many things that I loved about this book. But the stuff that I struggled with, hold on, I'm gonna peep on this guy and then tell you afterward.
Aha! That's it!
What's
Louis,
it?
are you in there?
I'll be right there.
Why? What is he up to? That's so suspicious. All right. So the things the thing that I didn't like about this book is at the end, the moral of the story that it kind of started to lean toward. It was not nuanced. It grated at me. It was just something that I didn't appreciate or enjoy. And I found it to be very disappointing because I felt like the book had so many complex themes that it was diving into, and the character development was really good, and I was just really surprised that it just felt like it just took a nosedive, and I was just shocked that that's where the book ended up. It just made me very disappointed. So the first 3/4 of this book I loved, and then things happened that I was just so disappointed by. It was a bummer. I don't know what else to say. My camera is running low on battery, and I think it needs to be charged. I'll see you guys shortly. Oh, hey there. Hello. It is many days later because I didn't feel like finishing recording the day that I was recording it, so I decided to save it for later, and the time has slipped by. Classic. But hello, I'm back. Let's dive back into this Nancy Drew game and finish talking about the books that I read for the Nancy Drew readathon. Okay, so I have gone around and talked to people, and let's see, I need to make it nighttime. I've called Bess and George, so Nancy's friends, and they give you hints in these games, and they have reminded me that I need to do the piano puzzle. I also have remembered where the light is that I need to, oh gosh, where am I going? That I need to use to get into that tunnel. So I think we're back on track with the mystery. I just need to get the lantern from this tunnel over here. I totally missed it before somehow. And I do believe that there were 3 books remaining that I need to wrap up. I hope that's right. So the first one is, let's see, let's do Made for You by Melissa Marr. That one is kind of a weird one. This is the book that I chose for my book that I don't know anything about. So I just went into it completely not knowing anything about it, and it turned out that it was about a girl in a high school, and she is walking home from a party or something, and a car crashes into her, and they're pretty sure it's attempted murder. Let me see, I need to write this down. So she wakes up in the hospital, and she's horribly injured. It's a miracle that she even stayed alive at all. So they don't know who tried to kill her, but the book, it's mostly from her perspective, but then there's also chapters from the person who tried to kill her, but you don't actually know who that person is because they refer to themselves as a different name than the actual character in the book. They are kind of a scary, religious extremist, so if you're not interested in that sort of thing, I would probably skip this one. In general, this book is not amazing. I enjoyed reading it. Like, it was extremely fast-paced and so addictive. I just flew through it. It might be this. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay. So, like, quality-wise, I wasn't massively impressed.
It's stuck.
With this book, but like,
It's so dark in here.
okay, I got a light, Nancy, calm down. So entertainment wise though, that's what I was falling in the whole time. Entertainment wise, I mean, it was very fun. It's basically got somebody hiding out down here, Charlie's term paper. Oh, I need to write this down. I can't believe Charlie has been hiding in this secret passage. Unbelievable. He's got some explaining to do. I honestly don't even know what else to say about Made for You by Melissa Marr. Like, it got very dramatic. Oh, it had a supernatural element to it that I was not expecting. And I cannot say that I really enjoyed it. I thought that that part was weird, and it just was not well developed. So yeah, just not my favorite thing. Wait, I want to put that in. Did I do it? I think I did. So I think I gave it 3 stars. My enjoyment level was just like, I really did have a good time reading it. So like, I don't want to be too harsh on it, but like truly it wasn't that great of a book. So I don't know. I feel like I can't give it less than 3 stars, but I also can't give it more than 3 stars. Okay, I've done a few more dialogue things, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the right place to get to the end of the game
I'm glad you dropped by.
Here we go.
You know, I wanted to tell you that you'll be alone in the house for a while. Everyone is going to the winter festival, and Charlie's studying for finals. I also took down one of the tapestries in your room for dry cleaning, and what was the other thing? Oh, a messenger dropped off a letter for you. I put it in your room.
The fact that we didn't
I
get
can see
invited
you're
to the
busy.
winter
I'll
festival
let
with
you go.
everyone,
Bye.
I think that's rude. Anyway, Monstrous Beauty was surprisingly good. I usually don't like historical fiction, but I actually found the historical fiction in this book to be really interesting. I actually have to say that I preferred the historical chapters over the present day chapters because I actually felt like the writing in the present day chapters kind of like felt stilted. Like, it felt like I was reading historical bits and they obviously were supposed to be modern, and it was just kind of like the writing, it was a mishmash and it didn't quite work in the modern day chapters for me. But I'm really into, oh crap. So I've written down most of these symbols, but do I have all of them? I don't think so. They match this tapestry. I've written them down. I'm missing river and golden. I don't remember where I see those. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Gumbo Fu means gold treasure mansion. Okay, golden is one of the things. So we know there's gold in this mansion. I think I should be able to figure this out. Oh, I have to do this again. Oh my God. I really, really like books that have like, not just books, like I like this in other fiction, like TV shows and movies as well. I really like multi-generational stories, and I like it when they have like something in the past and then you see like how it affects the characters in the present. I'm a big fan of that, actually. I really like seeing like the parallels and lineages like being drawn out and like how different timelines affect each other. So that was a big part of this book, and I really liked that. The mermaid element I thought was interesting. The creepy mermaids were definitely enjoyable, and yeah, I liked the fantasy elements in this. For me, going into it expecting not to like it, I just thought it was surprisingly good. So yeah, I was just quite happy with it. There were some issues with the writing, especially like between the 2 settings. Oh, there were definitely some issues with like cheesiness that they were a little bit much, but for the most part, I thought it was a pretty decent read. I would be curious to find out if somebody who's really into mermaid books, how they felt about this, because I don't read a lot of like mermaid fiction, so it's very possible that I was just like, I enjoyed this because I was like, ooh, mermaids. But like maybe the mermaid development was not as good as most mermaid books. I don't know. Hard for me to make that call. But for what it was, I had a good time, and I gave that book 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so there's one symbol that I couldn't find. It was river. I don't have this one written down anywhere, so that must be it. Oh, thank God. Ooh, here we go. Aww. Here's all the historical stuff that if you've been following the plot, you'll understand.
Something's missing here.
Here we go. Oh. And then what else do I have to talk about? I have one last book to talk about. That is my like actual Nancy Drew book, the Wedding Day Mystery. That book was, oh boy, that book was really, really enjoyable. Definitely like had a lot of the like classic, chaotic, silly like things about Nancy Drew books that I really like. It had like actually a decent mystery. I mean, I figured out most of the mystery, but it definitely was not completely obvious. Like there were twists and turns that I wasn't expecting, and it did keep me on my toes for a decent portion of the book. So I really can't complain. I thought it was a very solid Nancy Drew mystery. I won't go into these too much, but I have been reading a lot of the Nancy Drew Diaries this year, which is like the newest reboot of the Nancy Drew books, and I have not been enjoying them very much. So this to me was just very refreshing after reading so many disappointing Nancy Drew books. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh my gosh. Nancy takes the ruby. What could we possibly do with this ruby? Well, let me tell you. Okay. I know. Yeah, I'm about to beat the game, and I believe that I have wrapped up everything that I read during the Nancy Drew readathon. Why? Why? That was so scary. Okay. So, yeah, that one has its eye, and here we go. Okay, end of the game is about to happen.
When the moon sleeps and the sun plays.
Oh, I have to make it nighttime? Nancy, that was so anticlimactic. Or, no, I have to make it daytime. My God. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I know that this was extremely weird. It was fun for me. Let's do like 10 a.m. This is, I mean, for me, this is a combination of two of my favorite things, just talking about books and then also playing Nancy Drew games. But I just thought it was fitting, and I was excited about kind of doing an unorthodox wrap up for you, because, I mean, what else am I supposed to do for the Nancy Drew readathon? Oh, here we go. Oh, look at these graphics. Oh my God. What?
It's stuck.
We could have just crowbarred this up
Gold!
At the very beginning of the
And to think
game.
I was standing on it all along.
Oh my gosh.
Too bad no one will ever find out about it.
Oh my goodness.
Louis?
I knew it! There must be over $1 million in here.
Really? It
Gotta
doesn't
stop
look like
him
that
before he
much
gets
gold.
away.
Alright, so I could die here, but let's just finish it the correct way.
What? Hey! Hey! Get me out of here!
Yeah, that's right.
Dear Bess, I'm just about
Nancy
finished
drops a
with my
chandelier on
renovation
him.
work and counting out all of those gold coins. Louis was behind all of the accidents, hoping to
Unbelievable.
pressure Rose into selling the house so he could find the treasure himself.
Wow.
Although Rose and Abby may not have a legal right to the gold, the bank the coins were stolen from will still give them a reward for finding it.
Unbelievable.
The house also has gotten a lot of publicity with all of the news stories, and the place is booked solid for the first month of its opening.
Wow, that's so
I guess
nice.
a haunted bed and breakfast with hidden treasures is all the rage these days, even if there are no such things as ghosts. I think.
Wow.
See you soon, Nancy.
All right, that's it. All right, I hope you've enjoyed this mystery. I hope you have enjoyed hearing about the books that I read during the Nancy Drew Readathon. And I will talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.